What lives on a dirty retainer?
Find out today on Medical History Mysteries.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Medical History Mysteries. This week we're talking about dirty retainers. Tom, what's the story?
I've seen my share of retainers, and I can tell you that I don't know what lives on them, but I'm very scared about what grows on them, and I'm not even sure that the stuff that we use to clean retainers is enough to remove some of the stubborn biofilm and other things I've seen cling to retainers like concrete. I will say that the idea of using an ultrasonic retainer really does appeal to me because it really does a good job. We've been using ultrasonics in many industries for years. Jewelry cleaners, stripping paint off boats. I mean, ultrasonic has a great appeal because it provides such a deep clean. And why not use an ultrasonic cleaner on a retainer? Because it gives you that 360-degree clean with those high frequency sound waves that cause that cavitation, which bacteria and fungi hate, right? So we're removing bacteria, we're removing plaque, and even some microscopic debris. And it doesn't take very long, about 10 minutes. The best part, though, is that it's not abrasive. So there's no damage to the plastic or the metal components of the retainer. So you're getting a deep clean, you're eliminating odors, and it's really minimal effort. You just drop the retainer in and off it goes. They're not expensive, but they're not cheap either. So you've got to be committed to it, obviously. But I think the cavitation is something that's always fascinated me because it's those microscopic bubbles that bacteria hate that just cause them to fall apart. That the lysing that occurs and also disrupts any debris. So I don't see why we haven't thought of it sooner. I mean, how long have we had ultrasonic retainer cleaners? However long we've had it, in my opinion, we haven't had them long enough.
It's true, and it's not just for retainers. Let's think about our patients that are undergoing clear aligner therapy. I know I love Carrie's research, and it's interesting that cariogenic bacteria can thrive around attachments or in the cusp tips of these different aligners. And it's important that we talk to our patients about how they are cleaning them because we all want to grab some toothpaste and a toothbrush, but toothpaste tends to be way too abrasive for a plastic aligner. So using something like this, maybe with a tablet or a retainer cleaning powder or something like that, is really going to be the best way to go. So I know we were talking before we got on camera here that things like Candida and staph can live on retainers. So I know when patients come in to bring their retainers for us to clean, oftentimes they look pretty nasty. I bet you there's lots of other bacteria that can live on there.
No secret. Believe me, especially the plastic parts of the retainer often get stained, pitted, and accumulate plaque. And a lot of people don't realize that that plaque needs to be removed, just like it needs to be removed from your teeth. But brushing, like you said, is cumbersome. Nobody really wants to apply too much force because they're afraid about bending or flexing the retainer too much. And so you kind of like soak it. Maybe you stick it in some water and you hope that it soaks off the stuff. But as I've learned, and I'm sure you've learned over the course of time, Candida, Staphylococcus, even strep love when they can find a niche to live in. And so imagine taking a source of Candida or Staphylococcus or even strep and sticking in your mouth repeatedly every day at bedtime, the worst possible time, right? If people wear them at night, uh, and then always having that re-inoculation. Or as you said, the clear aligners, you're wearing that basically for hours at a time, all day. You're constantly providing that source of bacteria or fungi that can lead to systemic issues, especially a disruption of the microflora, because you're just cultivating these stronger and stronger bugs that will displace the more gentle, weaker bugs in your gut. So I think all the way around, it makes good sense to use one. I don't see why we wouldn't make it, standard issue. I think if you're an office that helps people get retainers or prosthesis like that, heck, I think it's a good idea to consider suggesting or even urging them to get one.
I couldn't agree more. The only final thing I'd like to bring up is fatigue of the material. So I wear retainers. I wear retainers every night. And it's interesting that I like having multiple retainers. It's sort of like reading glasses. You just sort of have them everywhere. So I keep them in my travel suitcase. I keep them in my home, obviously. And it's interesting that oftentimes when I go to wear my travel align retainers, they're tighter than the ones I wear every single night. So I think it's something that we should talk to our patients about the routine replacement of retainers. You get them and you're like, okay, great, I have a retainer. I'm going to wear it until either I bite a hole through it or I lose it or my dog eats it or something like that. We should probably think about replacing these at least once a year.
I agree, and I think honestly, the ultrasonic can do what it can do, but ultimately, there's going to be a buildup no matter what. The plaque and the bacteria will eventually, find places to live regardless of how often you clean it. If you clean it once a day, great, but you and I both know not everyone's going to be as fastidious as, okay, it's nighttime, got to drop my retainer into my ultrasonic cleaner. And so I don't want people to get a false sense of security, like, well, if I do it twice a week, we should be okay, right? No, I agree. I think they should be replaced often, especially since because as you said, they can change shape over time, and you can tell if you've had more than one retainer, as I've had in the past. So I agree. I think at some point it's expensive. Everybody gets it, but I think just like everything else with oral health, it's worth the investment.
Absolutely. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
I agree.
All right, everybody. Just food for thought for you for this week. And we can't wait to share more with you next week. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.